Hi everyone, welcome to today's video where I'm going to show you how to get started using Git and GitHub. Now, before I start, I have to say I've made another video that shows you how to install Git and how to register for a GitHub account. So if you don't have Git on your computer, make sure you do that before beginning on this video. And how do you know if you have Git installed? It's very simple. So I use a terminal here, or you can use if you use PowerShell. If you just type Git, it should come with a list of commands. So if it produces an error, that means you don't have Git installed on your computer. All right. So those two things, make sure you have Git installed and then make sure you've registered for a GitHub account. And if you have not done that, I have a video that shows you how to install Git and to register for GitHub account, and I've listed it below in the description. All right. So let's get started here. The very first thing, I'm going to make a new project. For example, let's make a new project. I can just say, like, click here, new folder. I would say Git 101. All right. So this is my folder called Git 101. Now, let's say I'm working on my project on my computer. This is my project, and inside this project, I'll put some files, and then I want this project to be on GitHub. How can I do that? So let's first go to GitHub and open our account. So I'm gonna go to github.com, and I've already signed in. So just sign in to your GitHub account. And once you sign in, the very first thing you want to do is to create a repository. So a repository is like your folder. Um, so here you see the option on the left hand side, create repository. Now, depending on when you view this video, the interface might be a bit different here. So you have that option on the left, or you can go here on the right here. You see this plus sign, you can click here, new repository. So let me do that first. So I'm just gonna click that and say new repository. All right, this is my account. It's called website vanilla, and my repository, let's say my first repository, I want it to be the same name as my project, which is Git 101. And description, I can type the description of my project. This is a short demo about how to use Git and GitHub. All right, I want to make it public, but you can make it private if you don't want anybody to see it. You can add a README file, but for now, I'm going to skip that. I'm not going to add a README file. I'm just going to keep it as basic as possible. All right, so just name, description, make it public, and then you're just going to create a repository. All right, you're going to create a repository. Now, as soon as you create a repository, GitHub will give you this kind of a quick setup page. If you have never done this before, just show you instructions. And these are the same commands that we're going to use. So once you have created your repository on GitHub, you can just minimize this window. We'll come back here later, but right now just minimize, and this is our project. So, all right, this is my folder. If I open this folder now, there is nothing in this folder. So now let's say I was coding. Let's code a very simple website. The code editor I use is called Webstorm. So I'm just gonna go and open Webstorm. It's called Webstorm. It's a great web editor. Try it if you have not. All right, and then over here I can just either open a new project or make a new project. Now because I already have that folder, I can just say here open, and then I'm gonna go to my desktop here, and the Sigito 101, that is my folder. I just say okay. All right, I'll just say trust. All right, I've opened my Git 101 folder, and right now I'm in this code editor. It's called Webstorm. I can even expand it. You can see full screen. All right, what I need to do now is just go here and right click. I'm going to open a simple new HTML page. I'm just going to say HTML. I'm going to say name this file as index. All right, and then I'm just going to get the title, get started with Git and GitHub. All right, So that's my first file, right? Is Git 101. If I minimize this window, if I go again to Git, I can see that, okay, this is my index file. And this other file, those are kind of created automatically by the IDE, which is WebStorm. Just ignore that. But my file is this one. All right. So how now do I sync my project on my local computer, which is this folder? How do I get this to GitHub? It's simple. So there are two things you can do. If you use WebStorm, you can use a terminal right here. It's within this code editor, which is pretty cool. But let's say you are using a different one and you don't have this terminal. So I'm just going to use a different one too. I can just open my other terminal window, or if you use PowerShell, use PowerShell. But in Windows 11, Windows come with this terminal. I just open terminal. All right, and by default you see here in my users, and then it's going to be under your account. So I want to be inside this folder here because this is the folder that I want to upload to GitHub, right? So it's easy. You can just say here cd, and then I can just that is change directory, by the way, and then I can just move. I can just drag it here. All right, so that's the path. I can click enter. So right now I'm in Git 101. All right, and if you are not very familiar with those terminal commands, I have another video. I'm gonna link on this video below that shows you how to get started using this, like if it's PowerShell, how to put commands on your system without using like graphical user interface. So I'm gonna link that video on how to get started with these terminal commands like cd and stuff. All right, so right now we are already on Git 101 folder. Now, the very first command I want you to learn is called git status. So this is my folder, and we know it's not on Git. I'm just going to type git status. What that tells you, just like the word itself, is very explaining itself. I'm going to check my status on my folder. Does this folder has Git in it or not? So if I say git status, it will say, see, fat or not a Git repository. So we already know Git 101, this folder is not a Git repository. So that is our first command. It's called git status, to just check the status of your folder if it already has Git in it or not. All right. The next command we're going to do is, now let's go to open our window again. You see this is called git init. This initializes Git on your folder. So git init. That's the second command I want you to learn. So I can just type now git init. If I type git init, you see initialized empty Git repository on this folder. So right now, if I type again git status, it should say this is a Git report. It says on branch, no commits yet. It already shows you that, okay, that has already been initialized and there is some untracked files. All right, so that was our second command, git init. So let's go back to that setup guide. The other one is called git add. Git add is used to add files now on GitHub. Now, let's say here, this is my folder. This folder just has one file, which is this index, right? All right, so right now, as you saw, I only have that one file, which is index. Now I want to add that file. I do that by doing git add, and I can just add that one file. I can say git add index. So that will just be one file added because it's just one file. I can just say, and that is, we know, is an index.html file. Right now there is no extension, but if I just say properties, you can see that this is an .html file. And even here, if I just expand, it says .html document. I can just hover over it too. It should say this is a HTML document. All right, I can just say git add index.html, and I'm already on my Git 101 folder. Git add, that has been added. There is another way to add files. So let's say you had multiple files. So for example, right now I only have index. Let's create maybe two more files. So let me go back to my code editor, and then I'm going to add another file, a CSS file and a JavaScript file. Now you'll find something cool about this code editor. I don't have to go here and say new style sheet. I can just right here, I can just say I'll say this is a link, right? Is it called link? CSS, I can click that, and then style.css, so that I can just hover over this and say create file. style.css. It automatically does that for me. And then my code editor is integrated with Git, but right now I don't say add, I'll just cancel because we're gonna do that manually. I'll just cancel for now. So you see you have style.css, my second file. Also, I can do the same way too. I can go here and add a JavaScript file, a script file like this. And then I just say this is called maybe script.js. My code editor will determine that I don't have this file. So if I just hover over that file name, I can just say create file script. All right, it has already added that too, and then I can just cancel. So those were just two ways to add files here. So in my projects that right now I have those 3 files. Another way to add file, again, I can just go here. If there was a PHP file, or I can just go again here. Maybe I can add another HTML file. I can just say again HTML. I can just name this blog. Okay, cancel, and then I just say this blog. So I have those 4 files. I can minimize my code editor again. If I go back to my folder here, you see I have 1, 2, 3, 4 files, right? Now using git add, let's say if I had 10 or 20 or even 100 files, I can't keep adding one by one. So Git has got a shortcut of just adding all files at once, which I use it a lot of times. I can just say here git add and just a dot. A dot means all. And if I do that, it will add everything on the project. So right now it has added everything. So just know that git add is our third command to learn. And if I go back to my browser here, you'll see that was git add. The next one is called git commit. Now we have added our file. Now we need to commit them. Commit, that's the term that is used in Git. So git commit, and then this commit has what they call a flag, allows us to add a message. With message, I can just -m, that stands for message, and then I can just type, okay, my first git project. It just tells you every time you're adding new files, when you want to commit them, you can add a message to just show you what you have been doing, like what that change was about. So once I'm done there, I just say enter again, and it tells, all right, here, all right, please tell me who you are, run git config. Okay, cool. So there's 2 things here that we have not because this is the first time I use Git on my terminal. You might want to configure what your username and what your email. So right now I didn't have that yet. So if you see this, do the following. But if you have used Git before, you might not see this in your terminal. All right. So right now I need to configure what's my username and what's my email, and they just tell you to run this command. So I can just copy them. Right click and copy, and just paste them. And all I need to do is change this to my email. That is git config. Okay. Website vanillapro@gmail.com. All right. I say, okay, that's my GitHub account. And the next one is this one. I just copy. What I did there, I just selected like this, and I hit Control C to copy. And then I just come here and paste it. And I just gonna change my username to, what is your username? Website vanilla. And let me go on GitHub and show you where those are. If we open here GitHub, you see here, this is my username, website vanilla, or you can just go on your account here. It will show you signed in as website vanilla. This is my account, and then your email is the email address that you use with your GitHub account. All right, I'm done. I can just click enter. Cool. So right now I can because that commit did not go through because I needed to tell who I was. I can just click the up arrow. I don't need to type that command again. I can just click the up arrow to see the previous commands. Up arrow again, up arrow again. So I want to commit that again. Git commit, my first Git project. Enter. Now it has go. See, 8 files have been changed. 54 insertion, it tells you what has been happening. You see all these file blog.html, index.html, script, style. All right, so now we have committed our project files to GitHub. Now there is one more step, which is, let's go to my setup page again. So we've already committed. You see here, git commit. And then the other one is branch. I'm not going to talk about branches. This is one of the new things that GitHub introduced on their setup page, I would say a few years ago, but I'm going to skip that. I'm just going to go with this one, git remote add origin. So now we are linking our folder on our computer with this repository that we did here, that we opened last time with this Git 101. So all I need to do now is just copy this command, git add origin, and it will be whatever your username was and whatever the name of that project. I'm just gonna copy this. I'm gonna come back here. I'm gonna say Control V. So that is git remote add origin, and then the name of my repository there. I just click enter. All right, it has gone without any problem. And you can create enter as many times as you want. It just shows you more space there. All right, and the last command, let's go back here. The last one is called this, git push u origin main. In the past, GitHub, the folder used to be called master. They changed it to main, but well, it really doesn't matter because even the old one, the older still works. So you can use this, but I'm used to those old commands, so I always use them, they work. So right now I need to put the very last command, which is that one, git push. Let me copy, git push your origin main. Git push your origin main. You can here put main or master, they all work. I'll just leave it as like that, and click enter. Let's see what's happening here. All right, now I know why it doesn't work. It doesn't work because I've skipped main does not match. Okay, cool. Because I skipped this step, that was git branch. It was creating this master file to be main. All right, so just ignore that. Because we skipped this, I'm not even going to use this. I'm going to use the old one that I used to use, which was, I just go back, git push origin, and yeah, just going to say master. They should all work, but if you use this command, just make sure that you also use this. I'm used to those old commands, so that's why I'm just using git push u origin master. If I click enter, it should work now. Let's see, enter. All right, this is another thing that you need to know. Git now did introduce also some security features, so you can't push your project until you have signed into your browser. So right now, I need to go again and click here, sign in with your browser, so that it links. All right, I'm gonna, let's see, website vanillapro@gmail.com. Now, depending on your setup, you might not see that. And then let me put the password, sign in. It wants me to authorize. Okay, I'm just gonna say authorize. Okay, authentication succeeded. You may now close and go back. Okay, now I can just close this and go back. If I go back now, it has gone. See, it has completed and it has pushed my project. If I go back to my window, you see all those commands. And if I'm not sure, I can just push that again. But it will say it has already been pushed. You see, everything is up to date. All right. So, and now we're done. So those were the only few git commands you need to know. Now, if I go back to my GitHub, if I just refresh this page, you won't be able to see this anymore. You will see my project files. I just need to refresh this, and you'll see all my files are in Git. Now, if I go back to my username, you can see, okay, this is Git 101. This is a short demo about how to use Git and GitHub. And yeah, all my files are there. So next time now, so what about if you continue working on a project? So let's go back to our folder, and let's say we added something to our what? And Git folders can contain more files, even images, I believe even audios too. I've not tried videos, but I believe all of those should work, or any type of files. Let's say we had an image. So for example, right now, let me just take a screenshot. I'm just going to take a quick screenshot here. On Windows. And then I'm going to copy this. I'm going to paste on your project, or I can save. There's so many ways. I can just say here, copy. I want to show you how to add different kind. I can just copy and paste. All right, our image has been pasted. So right now we have added, see, images preview. All right, let me close all these tabs. So right now I've added a different file on my Word. So that means this file that I've added on my local project here. Let me close this and minimize this. So this image file that I've added on my local project is not on GitHub. So how do I get it on GitHub? So I can just come back to my terminal, and if right now I say git status, it will show me the status of my Git repository. So git status, it will tell me that there is one file that has not been tracked here, which is image.png, that was added. Okay, so I can do again git add. I can add that specific file, or normally I just use the shortcut, just add all new files. I just say git add all, it will be added, and then say git commit for message, new file added. And then right now, because it's the second time, I don't have to use the git push origin master. I can just say git push, and then it will push. If I go back to my GitHub, you see now it's not there. If I refresh this, you should see the image. See right there, the image. All right, cool. So that was a quick introduction on how to use some of these Git commands. Let me know what you think, and I will leave this file as public here. You can download, and I don't know if you want to play around with it, that's fine. But yeah, those were the Git commands. So, but just as a shortcut to you, I'm gonna go back to my project folder, and to my index here, I'm gonna type those so that you see them. And actually, how about I add a new file? I can just go to new here, I add a new file, and I say git notes, and I can type here the only commands you need. So the first one was git status, then we had a git init, then we had a git add all. After adding, we had a git commit and then I just start here new message, but you can customize that. And then the last one was git push u origin master. The u means upstream, like it's going to the GitHub. All right, so, and I'm gonna type the heading here as, I would say, the very first time you create a repository. Okay. One thing I forgot here was the very first time you create a repository. One thing I forgot was, and I can even go back to my commands here, and after git, before push, okay, git commit m was this one, git remote add. This one, I'm just gonna copy. I'm just gonna type so that we can have them. and then I'm gonna remove this and say put your, okay, so that is gonna be your own, that's gonna be your own Git repo there. All right, I'm gonna write a message, change the URL to be your own repository, and don't put the brackets, the square brackets, I mean. All right, let me also do like this. All right, in this brackets, right? Don't put, yeah, so these ones, don't put those. All right, and after that was git push you origin master. So this is the very first time repository, okay? Number 2, and I say this, the other times you make changes to your folder, to your local folder. All right, and whenever I make some changes, like right now I've added that git notes, what I need to do was just like we did here, we just add this last command, git add all, git commit, and git push. You only need those. So after that, you just say, okay, git add all, git commit, I would say new files added, and then git push. All right, cool. So those are all the commands you need. Of course, Git have got way more commands, but those are all you need. And right now I can just close this, I can minimize. If I go back to my project, if I refresh this, you see there is not notes. It's because I've not added it. So if right now I go back, I can even check git status. You see git notes have not been added, and then I can say again git add all, say git commit new file git notes added, and say git what, the last one, git push. All right, if I come back here, I refresh, there you go, git notes. I can even open files and see. So this is what we have typed. See, so that is Git and GitHub 101. Let me know what you think, and watch out for my next video. Thank you so much.